riding with one glove. Can I get a hee hee? So what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Big Jake channel. I'm glad you're here. Now, today I'm going to tell you a story. Today is story time. I want to tell you the story of how I ended up buying my CBR 954 RR. Now, I might have told you this story before, but I don't think I've told you the really interesting part. So, spring of 2016, I'm shopping for a motorcycle, and I'm going to every dealership. I've gone to them all. Like, I'm to the point where I'm going to dealerships like multiple times a week just to see if the used bike inventory has changed. Like, that's how obsessive I was about getting a bike. Like, that was right there. Yeah, I could taste it. I could smell the 93 octane. I was so close to getting a bike. That was like, this far away. Going to multiple dealerships every single week, checking on the inventory. Like, the salesman started to just think of me as this like creepy tall guy who just walked around silently looking at motorcycles and never wanted any help. Because I knew what I wanted. I wanted a Hayabusa. Not because I need a Hayabusa, but because I'm really tall. Like, tall enough that people make comments when they see me. I'm the, hey, do you play basketball kind of tall? Like, that tall. And so I wanted a Hayabusa because I just wanted a sport bike that fit me. So I go to all the dealerships. Nobody has a Hayabusa. Point, I tried to buy a Hayabusa, that didn't pan out, and this was on like a Tuesday. Like, literally, I go to pick up my Hayabusa on a Tuesday. Long story short, I don't get the Hayabusa that Tuesday. So I'm like really pissed off and actually kind of depressed. So Wednesday morning rolls around, and my wife's best friend was dating this guy who like kind of sold motorcycles. Like, that was kind of what he did. Like, not a dealership, just a dude that bought and sold motorcycles, you know, just for like cash on the side, I guess. So this sort of motorcycle dealer, but not really, guy texts me and he goes, hey, you're looking for a bike, right? And I'm like, yeah, like, I don't know you, but I'm looking for a bike. So if you're talking to me about bikes, let's talk. So he's like, well, I've got this really clean CBR 954 RR. And I'm like, well, I'd already had a CBR 929, and I wanted a Busa. I really didn't want to go that route again. I'd already done the Honda thing. I was like, all right, whatever. But he sends me a picture of it without me provoking him. He just sends me a picture. He's like, by the way, this is what it looks like. And I'm like, oh, all right, like, I'll come look at it because I don't have anything else to do. So I grab my wife and we drive into the city. And if you're not familiar with me, I live near St. Louis. So we drive into St. Louis. In downtown St. Louis, you know, it gets a little sketchy. You know, it's a little Sometimes it's just a little So we drive into the city and we pull up to this dude's house, like the address that this dude, my wife's friend's boyfriend, gave us. And it's like, it's a decent looking house. It's not anything special, and you know, it's kind of your normal city house. There's nothing really that stands out about it, but it's not a bad place for sure. And so I see the bike sitting in the backyard, and he's like got this little shed in the backyard, and the shed, to be honest, is kind of sketchy looking. Like, it's leaning to one side. It's got some paint missing. It's sketchy at best. But this 954 is like perfect. It's super clean, sitting outside the shed. So I walk through the front gate and I'm looking over the CBR, and it's like, dude, it's minty. It's like he had polished it, he had cleaned it, changed the oil, new clutches. Like, oh, so good, so good. And like, I instantly knew. I was like, forget the Hayabusa. I don't need it. I don't want it. What's a Hayabusa? I didn't want a Hayabusa. You wanted the Hayabusa. Your mom wanted the Hayabusa. I didn't want a Hayabusa. Instantly forget about the idea of a Hayabusa, right? And he's like, well, if you like this bike, you should see what I have in this shed. And like, let me make this clear. This shed was like 12 by 12, leaning to one side, missing paint, like rusty metal gutters. Like, just, you would think that some old dude had a bunch of like old crappy broken lawnmowers, and that was it. Like that, you wouldn't assume anything. It was just like it's crappy, like that shed right there, just this crappy looking shed. And he opens the door to this shed, and I kid you not, there were like probably a dozen motorcycles side by side stacked in this garage, like unreal. And I'm gonna list off what I remember, and I swear to you, I am not making any of this up. He had 3 R1s. I think one might have been a first-year cross-plane R1, so 2009. He had a couple ZX6Rs. He had a ZX10R. And to cap it all off, he had a built turbo Hayabusa, stretch swing arm, like I don't know what size turbo, built motor. I think it had the 1340 kit, which if I think that's the number, but it's like the overbore stroker kit for the Busa. Monster, like monster $35,000-$40,000 motorcycle in this like little shed, like in the middle of St. Louis that you would never. And they were all like, he owned them. None of them were stolen. Like he had like a bag, like literally when I went to pick the bike up, he had a bag of titles like this thick. Like he owned all of them outright. And I'm like, who are you? What is this? Is this like the Twilight Zone of motorcycles? Like, what is happening? And so anyway, we looked over the 954 and like, I don't know what it was. This dude was totally cool. I won't name him just for his own privacy, but he had like 3 or 4 of his boys out there and they were kind of like watching me look at the bike. Like I guess they were used to maybe like sketchier people coming out to buy motorcycles. So I'm looking over the 954 and dude, I'm this like Midwest homeschooled milquetoast dude. Like I'm about as dangerous as Cheerios, and I'm like looking it over and like I'm not a good negotiator and I'm trying to be like, oh well, you know, I like this and I'm a little concerned about this. But in reality, the bike was perfect. Like there was nothing to be concerned with. But it always, that story always stuck with me because we pulled up to this house. We pulled up to this house, didn't expect anything, just normal, boring house, like nothing. And then there's probably, conservatively, $75,000 worth of motorcycles in this dude's shed. This little like 12 by 12, leaning to one side, little nothing shed. Like, what? Where does that happen? And I've never since then seen anything else like it. It was unreal. And that's what this dude does, apparently. He buys motorcycles and he flips them. That's, to be fair, in the Midwest, and I've talked about this before, you could definitely make a business out of that, for sure. Because when winter comes, people are like, oh, it's cold, I don't want to ride, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. Or their wives or girlfriends, not to be sexist, maybe it's the boyfriend's husbands, are looking at whoever rides the motorcycle in the family, and they're like, excuse me, there's like $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 sitting in the garage, you're not using it, time to get rid of it, let's go. And then, so bikes, anyway, long story short, bikes go for like nothing in the fall, winter around the Midwest, and then in the summer they're worth like, it's silly. It is beyond silly what bikes go for in the Midwest in like warm weather. This has been Storytime with Jake. If you haven't already, please, hit that subscribe button down below. If you like the video, throw it a like. If not, well, just keep it to yourself. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am Big Fast Jake, one word on Instagram. And actually, the link is down in the description below because I like to make things easy for you. I love you all, and we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.